Welcome to Theznutzgarage, and today we're going to be installing some e-boards from Rough Country on this here 22 F150. Alrighty, so here's the kit that you're going to receive when you buy this Rough Country e-board system. Now, you're going to get two boxes. One box is going to be long, and that's going to have your walk boards or your running boards. Now, this is the street side. It's kind of got a black, matte, textured finish to it. And then this is the side where you would put your feet, and it's kind of ribbed. Same thing, matte and textured a little bit and black. So this right here shows out to the street, and that's going to look pretty nice underneath this truck because it's going to be hidden away. And I kind of like that to make it, not make it look higher, but when you have walk boards on the bottom of your truck, it kind of, they do sit lower, so then it kind of takes away how high the truck actually is, in my opinion. But in the second box, you're going to get all of this, and including your instructions. These are the powered actuators or motors or whatever you want to call them. There's four of them, and they all four powered. Now, they come with some hardware. These are some little washers and some zip ties, and that's a fuse for the wiring kit. This is the modulator or the computer for the system right there. And then here's all your wiring harness. And what we'll do here in a minute is we'll lay all our wiring harness out on the floor as we mount these up so they can kind of unravel. But we will need to be getting under the hood. We'll also have to be getting in the doors and then pulling the carpet back, the door seals and all that kind of stuff in the truck, because we do have little magnetic mechanisms or sensors, I guess would be the correct word, that you have to mount back here somewhere. So that way the truck or the computer can read when the door opens, and then you have to put like a magnetic chip on inside the door. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to put it on time-lapse mode while I get everything set up. And then what I'm going to do is show you the mounting points for these motors and that module underneath the passenger side. And then we'll have to figure out how to run our wires up into the truck. And what I'll do, instead of having you sit around for all the little long, tedious me doing really nothing, I'll put it on time lapse, and then I'll come back in and show you how I'm running things and setting things up, and then you can go from there to wire up your truck. All right, so I got the motors there, and that's basically where this module is going to go. And then I have, these are the wires here that they say left front, left rear. Then I have another set that says right front, right rear over there. This right here is, I think, for the rock lights and a ground, and for the switch. It goes inside the truck. And then there's the main power wire. So I just kind of got them laid out underneath the truck, kind of where they go. And now what I'm going to do is I'll show you where, in case your truck doesn't have running boards on it already, if it does, you're going to use this factory bolts that come out. There's actually 3 sets, so you're going to use the front set and the rear set, because here's a third set right there, right in my face, right there. I guess some older models, they did have 3 brackets for the running boards, and then there's the last back pair. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to go ahead and mount these up get them where they go. They basically kind of go like that. Sorry, one-handed cameraman. And we'll just bolt them in. We'll just snug them up. I'm not going to super tighten them all the way because we may need to, once we put the e-boards on, we may need to make sure everything's in alignment and then tighten them down permanently. But right now, I'm just going to snug them up. All right, the little control module that comes with it is going to go in like this right here. And it's going to use that middle bracket. So if you have a truck that has 3 steps and this one comes in with only 2 of for the front and the rear, this is going to take up that middle spot. You can see there's actually another bolt up there, and that's for another bracket for your running boards. But this module is going to go right there in that middle set. All right, so I have all 4 of my motors mounted where they need to go. Right there. Like I said, I did just snug those up so that way I can go back after I get my running boards on and test them and make sure they're going up and down without a problem, and then I'll tighten them up the rest of the way. Here's that control module, and there's our wires coming out. Now, we do have a set of wires that has to go to the driver's side of the truck, and that would be these right here. So what I may do is run them through that hole, since it's a hole. That way this wires don't get tangled up on anything else, transmission, so on, so on. So they may go through there. Like I said, those are some wires for the switches and something else. But I don't think those have to go to the other side just yet. I'm going to actually put my... You have a switch in the truck that if you need to, you can hit it and it'll deploy these steps and keep them down. So I'm going to actually put that around my console. I'm not going to go all the way to the passenger side of the truck. There's no sense in that. But these are the wires that are going to plug in right up here. And then, like I said, those wires go to the front of the battery. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and fish this set for the left side all the way through. Now, if you see this little wire, this is for lighting. So when these steps deploy, they'll have lights on them. So that way you can see the step. That light is made in right there, and it's on all 4 corners of it. So when we push this through, that should be the only thing that goes to that driver's side. All right, so I've got that side over there. Wires are pulled through this here cross member, like I said. They're just running through there. It's got extra like insulation on that part of the wire, so I guess as it's in here, it doesn't chafe around or do whatever. Now right up here, you can see our wires. And here's the ones that are going. We're gonna go ahead and plug them in so that way we can start pulling the wires to our motors and zip tying them up out of the way. But these wires, none of them are the same. So you can't plug one in the wrong spot. They're idiot proof. So we got a big one, a little one, pluggy thing, and then we got the one for the, I think that's the power for something. I think this is the rock lights. I don't know. We're just gonna plug them up. Let the module think about it. So we got a small one. We're just gonna plug it in. Click till you hear it click in there. And these do have like a waterproof seal on them, so that way they don't get water in them since they're under the vehicle. We're gonna go ahead and plug that one in, the big one. And then we have this one. Now, there's one that's black. This little tip is black, and then this tip is red. They do have like a little notch in them. Got my hand all in the way. They do have like a little notch in them, so that way they can only supposed to go one way. So if it won't go, twist it a little bit. Make sure you got it lined up. Just, you know, put it in the hole, twist it a little bit, and see what happens. you're like me, getting older, you can't see. Okay, there it is. So that's there. That's close. I wish they'd mark them on the outside so that way you knew. Ah, there we go. So we got it all plugged up. And then, like I said, this one goes to the motor in the back, and then this goes to the front. So what I'm gonna do is just, and on top of the, can you see that up here? Probably not. Still probably not. There's a plug. It's just one little plug. And you can see it says front right there. That plug will go into it. It'll only go one way. I'm just gonna go ahead and plug it in till you hear it click. Like I said, there is another wire right here, and that's gonna be for our rock lights. Not our rock lights, but our courtesy lights, whatever you wanna call them. I'm gonna go back here to the back. Like that, let's go with me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of run it over the top of this here module. And then I'm just gonna plug it in. We got plenty of extra, I can tell you that. There it goes. Push it till it clicks. Now, what we may have to do when we run these, can you still see? Let me see. We may have to zip tie it up to the frame up here to keep it up out of the way somewhere, because really on this side of the cab, the bottom side of the cab, there's really not anywhere to zip tie it. So we may have to find us a couple of spots like here on the frame to zip tie it into place, or up here. I really want it tucked away, to be honest with you. So I'm gonna unplug it. There's a cab mount right here. I'm gonna feed it in behind it. That'll put it up top. Can you see that? Come on, get in there. Well, anyway, right there. So you got that cab mount. I fed it in behind it. Now I'll plug it back in till it clicks. What that should be able to do is we should be able to put it up here out of the way, so that way we don't have to worry about it getting caught on anything. Same way with the front. All right, now let's separate these wires out. Now I'm gonna go over there and do the other side real quick. I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing. I'm just gonna kind of bolt it into place and or snap it into place. Just getting it ran where it needs to be, and then once it's basically in the general area, when we get everything test fitted and working, we'll go back in and wire tie it all up. So let me do that, and then we'll come back. Then we have to run this power wire up to the battery, and then we have to run some wires to the inside of the truck, and we got to find us an access point for that. Hopefully one that's pre-existing, you know. I don't want to drill no holes in it. So I'll be right back. All right, so let's try this again. So here's the power wire and the ground. It's running up through here and going from the left side, passenger side. This very front body mount, it's going in behind it. And as you can see, it kind of turns, it's going behind this and it turns here. Well, then you see I'm looking up at the motor from the ground. So then I have it comes underneath this crash bar. It's kind of hard to see, people. Hold on, going underneath it. And then I have it going up in here. And then it's fished up into the engine bay. Now let's hop out here, because it's kind of tucked away pretty good. So if you go back here, it's running, trying to be the cameraman and all that at one time. So it's coming up from back down here. I don't even, yeah, I can see it. Can I see it in the camera? It's back there. and it's coming up behind all of this stuff back here. It's coming up behind this box, and it's fishing out right here. There's a body ground is where I'm gonna put my ground wire. Then my positive is gonna go right there. Boop. And that'll be it as far as the power, but I'm not gonna hook that up until I have everything ran, and I still have to run the sensors for the doors, and then the switch that shuts off the running boards and makes them stay deployed. So that'll be inside work that I have to do. So let me jump over here and start working on that. All right, so I had that little bit of time-lapse issue. I didn't hit the start button. So this is the passenger side. We've got the trim panel out. We've got this is a fuse box cover. We've kind of got this kick panel loose. I don't know, it don't want to come out all the way, but I don't need it out all the way. And then I've loosened up this side of the console, and it just kind of snaps apart. But then I'll have to show you up here. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that light in there? That's how we're going to fish the wires to the driver's side. I have a fish tape, so I'll be able to push that through, grab my wires, and pull them through the other side. But when we pull this back, this right here, this grommet, this rubber grommet, will be our entryway for our wires to come into the cab. Now let's go over here to the driver's side, and I'll show you. Over here, this is probably the worst part about this job, is doing the wiring on the inside. It takes as long as the rest of it, or even longer. So I wish I had a light again. But anyway, I have a light stuck in their console, same thing. Undo the bolt, pop the console apart a little bit. I got a flashlight right there, so that way I could see my path that my wires are going to go through, and I can fish through. And then they'll come underneath the carpet. And then probably somewhere up here I'll have that little switch to deploy the running boards if I need to. But then we have to move back into the back part of the truck as well. So I'll need to remove the seal plate in the back doors, so that way I can run these wires for the sensors for the door. Now with Rough Country, they actually have little magnetic things that stick in the door that open, that makes the module know to open and close the steps. Now I think there's another brand, I can't think of it off the top of my head. They actually have a plug that goes into your ODB2 reader, whatever plug there, and it'll self-deploy them. That's it. You don't have to have the magnetic strips on the doors, which sounds pretty good when you have to tear all this apart. So that's something to think about, Rough Country. Can we get something like that? So I'm going to put it back on time lapse. I'm going to go ahead and get all these wires ran and everything set up to be, to test the system. Because I'll test these motors before I ever put the boards on it. Then once they're all working, opening and closing right, then I'll test them with the boards. All right, so I got my wires coming up to this grommet. I pulled the little, whatever you call that stuff. Can't remember. So this is a black wire. It's actually two black wires right there. They go to that side too. These are the ones that go to the switch. And I'll be mounting that somewhere on the other side of this dash. Then the white wire goes to the sensors. Brown wire goes to the sensors on the passenger side. That's why it's shorter. If you're wondering what goes to the driver's side, everything that's really long goes over there. So Now what I'm gonna do is just kind of tuck these wires back down underneath this carpet real quick. And then what I wanted to show you here, and it's kind of hard because our cameraman is just poor. He's sorry. So those wires are going up through that hole right there. We're kind of like at the bottom corner of this trim piece, or the part of that console. If you have one with a console, some trucks don't. But I wanted to show you this on the driver's side because you'll need, if you have a fish tape, you'll need to fish from the driver's side. And you can see my flashlight is right there. So just know that in front, not in front of this, but in front of that metal plate, you pretty much have a straight shot all the way back to the passenger side. So if you need to get a fish tape run through there, maybe a long coat hanger or something, that you can push that wire through there and then pull the black and white wire. And then what I'll do, like I said, the black wire, there'll probably be a switch back over there somewhere on this trim piece for that to be at. And then the white wire will come back through, and it's going to come over in this general area and kind of die out, because this is where we'll be installing our sensors on our doors. All right, so let me jump back in here real quick. Now, I have my white wire ran from basically here all the way up into that corner. You want to kind of get that as close to this corner as you can, because you may need the extra slack back here when you hook up these sensors. Now, you do have the switch that is for these, like I've said, to deploy these running boards down if you need them to stay down. Now, I had taken this panel back and I had pulled the white wire and the black wires through. Now, I'm going to try to get this camera up in here. Right there. So here's my switch. Back is off, forward is on. So if I need to get to it, it's right there. It's hidden out of the way and you don't see it. I just don't want that to be an eyesore when you open up the door. There's, focus camera, focus, you know, somewhere down here. I don't want that. So I got it tucked up underneath there, out of the way. Alrighty, so here's one sensor. And then you basically, across from it on the door, you put a little magnet. And it just sticks to it. If you mess up and you get it in the wrong spot and you need to move it, they do send extra sticky things. But it's basically just basic 3M adhesive tape stuff. So from here, it jumps to the other side, to the driver's side over here. Sorry about the cameraman. Here's our power wire coming in, and it'll have a special plug, but I kind of got it tucked up in here somewhere behind this piece, because there is some airbag stuff down here right there. So I'm trying not to get it in the way of any of those wires. And then how I grounded it was right there. I just backed that big bolt out and slid that little prong in there and then tightened it back up. So let me show you the front door. Here is going to be my little magnet right there. And then here is my sensor on this one. Now all I have to do is just put this trim back in, put all this stuff back on it. But I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and hook up the power to it so I can test these doors and make sure they're deploying right. Being that this side is hooked up, I should be able to test these sensors out and make sure it's working. Alrighty, so I got power hooked up to the truck. Let's zoom this out a little bit. So now we're going to test them. I like doing it like this so I can test each door individually. So you see they pop down, the little motors. We're going to go back up. We're going to pop down. Go back up. Now even the passenger side's doing it right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in and do the passenger side over here, because the door is open on it, but I don't have any sensors on it. And I did get my battery hooked up. I still have to go and zip tie everything up, make it look good. I'll get it out of the way. But this door's been open the whole time. That's because I haven't done that sensor yet. So let me jump over here and do this, and then I'll come back, and then we'll get ready to install our boards. All right, what we're fixing to do now is install our running boards and our lights, courtesy lights. Now I have these doors open, as you can see. Everything is working as it should. Now, if you're somewhere and you don't need those to deploy and you need them to stay up underneath the truck, that's what that switch is underneath the dash, is to keep them from coming down. So maybe you're out rock crawling, or I don't know, you park next to a curb, you don't want to mess up your running boards, you can leave them tucked up underneath the truck. So what we're going to have is, for each one is 4 bolts here. And then on the bottom of these, you have these little things, and these slide around. So know that they're adjustable. So once you get these running boards up, you can actually loosen these up and shift this running board a little bit to the left and to the right to make it line up with the truck exactly where you want it. So my plan is once I get them on there, if they line up perfectly, they'll be in the seam of that crack right there. So I guess I can try to get this going and show you how to install one of them. And then I'll just go ahead and install the other one. And then when we're done, I'll come back and get everything cleaned up with the zip ties and all that stuff. And I'll show you, the next clip will be the final clip where I'll show you how everything's zip tied up, everything's working properly, and it's all ready to go. All right, so now we have this edge. Remember, we have this little thing that slides around back there. And I'm just going to kind of bring this end up and just kind of rest it on that edge over there. Because this is kind of an awkward thing to do with one person. It really is. So I'm just going to stick one of these little bolts up through there. Maybe I'm not. It's easier to do it while you're below, I guess. All right, best to kind of do this with like this on your back so you can look up through there. You have to get that little, and I'll show you over here on another one I get this put in. You have to get this little bitty block that slides around in the exact right spot. So if you got 2 people, get somebody to help you do this. And we're just gonna put one in, kind of snug it up, because like I said, this does slide back and forth. And I wanna just get it to where it's snugged up so I can still slide it without it falling on my head on the other end down here. You definitely want to make sure it's snug, because what I'm gonna well, you don't want it too snug. You still want to be able to slide it. I may have got this one right here too tight. See, I want to be able to move it back and forth. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the door, let it go to where it's supposed to be, and line it up with where I want it to be with the seams of the truck, and then I'll come open the door back and then tighten these up. So let's give it a shot here. Put you over here out of the way. I don't want you to get hurt. All right. So let's slide it this way a little bit. Give it a couple of check it out. Yeah, that's nice right there. Like I said, I've kind of put the back end of this running board at this seam of the back seam of the door. So now I'll just tighten it up. They do not supply you with the Allen wrench. So if you need the correct size Allen wrench, go buy a cheap piece of furniture. You'll get one. At least I think that's where this one came from. Well, I'm going to finish this up like I said, and I'll get this on and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. Alrighty, sorry for the shaky camera. So basically I got everything wired up, loop back, zip tied up to the frame. Just anywhere you can zip tie it. I know this is really a bad spot. Anywhere you can zip tie it up, keep it where you can't see it, anything hanging down. Just start your way at the back and work your way forward. I did the same thing on the passenger side, the driver's side, so that's all you have to do. Just make sure it's all zip tied up and you'll be good. All right, so that's going to be the end of the video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, share this video. I think that's all you're supposed to do according to Facebook. But I would really appreciate it if you liked the video, comment it down below if you have any questions. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so. We have a bunch more other stuff coming up after this with some other vehicles, so you might want to check that out. That's going to be it. So God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.